Hello, my name's Fiona and I'm 30 years old. I'm a stay-at-home mom to two beautiful children, and things have been quite well for me. Well, for the most part, at least. Lately, things haven't been going too great between my husband and me, as we got into a nasty argument some months ago, and unfortunately, this is all to do with his mother. Ladies, I'm sure you'll agree with me that our mother-in-laws oftentimes have a hold over their little boys' hearts, which is expected, but sometimes it can get excessive. I can say that I ended up marrying the mama's boy, and sometimes I regret it, just because of how troublesome it can be to get through to my husband at times. The argument went like this. Fiona, come here. Yes, I'm coming. What is it? I have something to tell you. Please sit down. Is everything okay? Yes, everything's fine. I just wanted to tell you that we need to cut back on certain household costs. Oh, is everything okay at work? No, everything is fine. Don't get any wrong ideas. I've just decided to add a new expense that is important, meaning that other areas of our lives have to be readjusted to accommodate this new expense. Okay, what is the new expense? He took a deep breath. I think he knew that I wouldn't like his answer. I'm going to be sending Mom some money every month. It's not going to be a lot, but she's getting older and she needs an allowance. I was hesitant and confused. It didn't make sense to me to give allowance to a woman who was already swimming in money. Rita, my mother-in-law, had a small business that was doing very well, and considering she was a widow and all of her children moved out of her house, she didn't need any more money to add on top. I expressed my concerns regarding this issue, and my husband tried to persuade me and let me know that it was fine. How much are we talking about? Don't worry about it. Excuse me? I'm a housewife. It is my job to worry about these things. Tell me how much. I'm going to send her $4,000 per month. I almost choked. $4,000 per month? That was insane to me, as that's the average monthly expense of an individual living alone. He would be paying her for doing nothing. I tried to argue with him and say that this was not possible, and he stood his ground, arguing back with me. Let's just say that we ended up sleeping in separate beds that night. That's how nasty the argument was. It should be noted that we are a well-to-do family, but I try my best to be money savvy so that we don't end up squandering the expenses aimlessly. Paying someone $4,000 per month for no particular reason other than that's my mommy and I love her equals $48,000 per year. That type of money can be used to go towards our children's college fund, as well as setting up their bank accounts, our health insurance, or better yet, it can go to a charity or multiple charities. In other words, the money can go to people who actually need it. Although I was making these arguments, he just wasn't ready to hear them. 5 months had gone by ever since he started doing this, and to make matters worse, he would want me to be the one to send it to her. I think he was trying to punish me somehow and make me believe that he would always choose his mother over me. Fortunately enough for me, though, this charade of pompous arrogance would come crashing down as I eventually found something shocking. The situation all started when my mother-in-law came for a visit, 3 months after receiving this allowance. Oh, hello, Fiona. How's my favorite daughter-in-law? I'm doing well, thank you for asking. How are you? Oh, I'm feeling divine. Ever since Adam started sending me money, I've been feeling much better. Please don't tell him about this, but I was struggling for some time. The business isn't doing as well as I thought it would, but I didn't dare to ask for help. I'm guessing he could just tell. It must be our special mother-son bond. At that moment, I felt awful. How could I deprive this woman of money that she so clearly needed? I was always under the impression that she was doing just fine, but she wasn't. She began to break down and I consoled her. I mentioned previously I don't mind sharing money with those who need it, and at that moment, Rita clearly needed it. Or so I thought. You see, there was something a bit odd that I noted after we had this heart-to-heart conversation. She began to talk at length about how now she could go on all these luxury trips, and when I would look puzzled, as someone who needs money isn't worried about trips, they're worried about paying off necessary expenses like bills, etc. She would quickly change up her statement by blushing and saying something along the lines of, "Oh, of course, I'm not talking about going on those trips now. I mean, once I get rich, once the business gets back on its feet again." It was quite odd to me, but I let it slide since she said she needed the money. 2 more months of this go by, and I would send the money to her account, and she'd always respond with a sweet and lengthy message of how much she needed the money and that she's so grateful to be receiving it, and I would always feel bad for her and feel guilty for attacking my husband in the first place. Unfortunately, I started to witness the effects of the depleted funds affect the household. When you're used to a routine, it can be hard to adjust. Nonetheless, I bit my tongue and cut corners wherever I could, and we still managed to be fine. One night, however, I noticed something odd. I was cleaning up my husband's office when I noticed a text sent by his mother. Me, being nosy, I began to read it. "Hey Adam, as always, I hope you are well. Please, if possible, could you increase the monthly allowance for me, as I would like to enjoy some additional luxuries." I was shocked. How could she ask for more money when the money she's already receiving is more than the average monthly expense of a single person living in America? As I mentioned before, she's a widow, and she lives alone. She's also healthy and very capable for a 65-year-old woman, so why exactly did she need more money? And she wanted to spend it on luxuries? My sympathy for her was slowly starting to drain, and my curiosity got the better of me as I began to search for some answers. I was typing on my husband's computer, ignoring the email that was sent from the mother as to not raise suspicions, and I began digging into the family funds. Alas, my search ended up being fruitless, as there was no information that I could gather to suggest that there had been some foul play in this whole situation. So I came up with a plan. "Hello, Fiona. How are you doing? Is everything okay? Why are you calling so late?" "Hello, Rita. Everything is fine on this side. I hope the same for you." "Oh, yes. Slowly but surely I'm managing, although I'm not managing well, if I'm being honest. Life has been so hard recently. Sometimes I can't even afford basic toiletries. I'm so grateful for my son who's giving me money." "Right. Anyways, I was calling just to ask if you'd like to come over for some tea tomorrow." "Oh, tea would be lovely. Thank you for so graciously offering. You know, sometimes it's so hard this side that I can't even afford tea. So having tea with you would be an honor." "Oh, no, the pleasure would be all mine. Rita, just come and we can enjoy our afternoon together." "All right, my love. Ciao. Bye." And with that, I hung up the phone, getting ready for my plan. The next day, Rita arrived and we had a splendid time. As the afternoon tea session was winding down and we were chatting about trivial things, she eventually needed to go to the bathroom. Great. This was my chance to do some digging. As she left to go and relieve herself, I began digging. I went through her purse to find her phone. Luckily, the phone was unlocked. I then opened her banking app and began digging for what I needed to find. I just needed to see just how bad her situation truly was. As always, a woman's intuition is rarely wrong, and I found some shocking news. With my suspicions and hunches, I knew that she was hiding something, but nothing could have prepared me for the amount of money that I saw she had in her bank account. As of 6 months ago, Rita had over $1,600,000 in her bank account. I was speechless. I had to exit the app and relaunch it just to make sure that it wasn't a glitch or something, and sure enough, she had all that money in her bank account. I was so confused, but to add to my confusion, on her phone was a text message. I recognized the message as it came from one of her employees from her business. The text message read, "Hello Rita, please find attached the financial breakdown of last month's earnings. Just to let you know, it looks like we've made a big profit for the 4th month in a row. You're a great businesswoman. I look forward to hearing your feedback." Naturally, I opened up the attached document to see even more money that was being flooded before my very eyes. It showed that there was a monthly profit of $8,400 for a small business that was truly a wonder to behold. At this rate, this small business would become a big deal. Sitting there gobsmacked for what felt like ages made me think about how this lady was siphoning money from her son for no apparent reason other than just to do it. I was livid. This money that she was taking from this household, her own grandchildren, wasn't even a necessity for her. She just did it to boost her own ego. Once I heard Rita returning from the restroom, I quickly erased all evidence of me tampering with anything and put her phone back in her purse. She strolled outside and said, "Oh, Fiona, thanks again for the lovely tea. You know, as an old lady, it's very hard to do these things, especially if you're already struggling. I've been struggling a lot lately, my child, and I'm very grateful for you and your husband helping me. Say, might I ask you for something, if it won't be too much trouble?" "Sure thing. What do you need?" "As you know, I'm just so grateful for all the help that you've given me, but I would like to ask, is it possible if I could get some more money? Perhaps maybe an increase to $6,000 a month?" Let me tell you, it took every fiber of my being to not scream at the top of my head and berate this woman for all of the nonsense she was trying to put me through. I clenched my teeth and said, "Oh, Rita, I hear your pain since you are clearly struggling. It's not like you're a millionaire or anything." She froze. It was a small movement, and in any other case, I probably wouldn't have noticed her getting caught off guard like that. But because I knew what I knew, I was more attentive and I caught her. Fortunately for her, though, she quickly recovered. "Oh, no, of course I'm not. If I was, I wouldn't be asking you, darling. So what do you say, my love?" "Unfortunately, I don't think we can provide the extra $2,000. Once I said this, the smile that Rita had on her face was quickly replaced with what looked to be irritation. She pressed her lips together in frustration. "Oh, that's fine. Not an issue. Hey, listen, I have to go now, so let's do this again." And with that, she up and left. It was so surprising to see her move so quickly, as if she'd just been rejected by a lover and wanted to escape quickly to avoid embarrassment. Now, I knew that she was a liar and a thief, and all the aforementioned sympathy I had for her drained. I was pondering telling my husband about my findings, but I fought against it. I was thinking that perhaps it would be better for him to find out himself, especially after berating me so heavily all those months ago. As I mentioned earlier, my husband is a mama's boy. Me simply telling him my findings might have caused more drama, as someone with rose-tinted glasses oftentimes fails to see the extent of their loved one's wrongdoings. He needed to witness this for himself, for there to be actual pain. It was a calculated type of pain that I would administer to him, a necessary evil that needed to be done for him to realize his mother's true colors. I knew what I had to do. A couple of days went by, and it was finally the day for me to replenish my mother-in-law's account with her monthly allowance of $4,000. Even though this was the schedule and my husband had already given me the money to pay her, I decided not to. I wish I could have seen the look on her face when it was later on in the day and she realized that the money she was expecting never came. It must have come as an absolute shock to her. Just as I had expected, my husband called me a couple of hours later. "What is this I'm hearing?" "What do you mean? Why are you angry?" "Cut the nonsense, Fiona. I know what you're doing. Why have you not paid Mom the allowance? I'm getting sick of your foolishness." You'll never guess what I found, though. There's a reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. Look, I get it, you're upset because I care about my mother. I'm sorry that you don't have what we have, but I need you to listen to me. You don't even make enough money. Scratch that. You don't even make any money at all to begin to tell me what to do with my money. This is my money and I'll do what I want with it. So when I tell you to send money, you do it. You're nothing but a housewife. Don't forget that. At that moment, my heart completely shattered. How could he speak to me in this way? I was perplexed. I didn't know what to do with all the pent-up rages that I had kept inside me for so long, so I decided to snap back. You know what the problem is with you? You don't appreciate me. You think that being a housewife and mom is easy? You think that this is a walk in the park? You wouldn't even last a day without me in this house, and this is how you want to treat me? Fine. I'm not going to be home, just to show you how much you need me. But before I go, I want you to just check your mother's bank account details, and once you do, don't bother calling me until I'm ready to come back home. I hope you have a nice evening. Fiona, wait, I didn't mean... I hung up the phone. I was sick of this family trying to trample all over me. People oftentimes ask God why these things happen to them. Maybe the past couple of months have been hectic for me because I needed to be reminded to take a break. I've been working so much and all of it goes unnoticed. Let's see just how this man will cope without me, especially after he finds out that his mother is a liar and a thief. I sent him the pictures I took of his mother's bank account whilst I was sleuthing for answers, and then I proceeded to put my phone on DND. I packed several bags for both me and my 2 children, and we put up in a hotel that wasn't too far from their school, as I didn't want to disturb their school schedule. They had asked me why we were putting up in a hotel, and to satisfy their natural and innocent curiosity, I just told them that our house was being fumigated, so we needed to stay here, and that Daddy would stay in another hotel for the time being. I couldn't bear to be truthful to my sweet angels, at least not now. They don't need to suffer like this when I myself was a wreck. I needed to heal for them first. Even though my phone was on DND, I could see the incoming messages flooding my inbox. It was coming from both my mother-in-law and my husband. The messages grew and grew as the night went on, but I was just so exhausted from everything that I decided to just spend the rest of my night relaxing and playing with my children. I would deal with the drama in the morning. Morning time arrived and I was awoken by a phone call. Hello, Miss Fiona? Yes? Yes, there is someone here named Adam who would like to meet you. As per our company's guidelines, we need to confirm if you two do indeed know each other to prevent any issues from arising. Sure, I understand. Yes, I do know this man. He's my husband. You can inform him of my room. Adam had come to my door and I opened it. He lunged at me and began to hug me tightly, squeezing the life out of me. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry about everything. I saw what you sent me, and you were right not to send her anything. This man began to sob in my arms, and I began to console him. I led him into the room, and we began to speak. Babe, I'm so sorry about everything. I'm glad you came to your senses. Tell me what happened. At that moment, I was receiving a phone call from my mother-in-law. I decided to answer it. Hell, you! How dare you go through my personal information like that? I could sue you, you know. Are you sure you even need the money? How dare you try and tarnish my name in front of my baby? It doesn't matter. He loves me, and he will do anything and everything to make me happy. You think that he's going to stop sending me money? Ha! You must be out of your mind. You think he's going to listen to a simple housewife? You must be sorely mistaken. Yes, I have money. I've always had money, ever since my husband died. I just like controlling Adam sometimes so that he doesn't get a big head. He must always remember that mommy comes first. The person who was speaking to me on the phone certainly was not my mother-in-law. It was a monster. She sounded so different and so evil. Her yelling had unfortunately woken up the children. So you don't care that you have been impinging this household with your selfishness? You don't care that Adam and I have been having arguments because of your foolishness? You don't even care that you've been stealing not only from your son, but from your grandchildren? Oh, please, you two are bound for divorce anyways. I can't wait until that happens. He will come home and stay with me for a while. And as for those kids, yeah, I guess I don't really care. Wow, Mom, that's such a cruel thing for you to say. Adam, baby, listen, I didn't mean what I just said. Did you hear all that? Every last word. Adam, my darling, nope. That's not going to work on me this time. I have seen your true colors and I've had enough. You have made the past couple of months hell for me and Fiona. How could you manipulate me like that? I'm your son. What sort of evil spirit has to possess you for you to do such a terrible thing? I just can't imagine why I managed to fall for your tricks. But my beautiful wife, Fiona, could see right through you. All along she knew that something was fishy, but I shouted at her and disrespected her, but not anymore. Fiona is my real family, not you. I don't ever want to hear from you again. Adam, wait! But I have no one. Maybe that's how it ought to be. Click. Adam hung up the phone, and although he was upset, I could see a sense of relief wash over him. For his whole life, he had been subject to a manipulation just like this, realizing that must have been a heavy burden, but a burden removed nonetheless. Adam spent the rest of the day apologizing to me and the kids for being so careless and distant. And he even told me that he realized that he couldn't even survive one night without me. He now realizes his mistakes and promised never to do them again. And as for his evil mother, he meant it when he said he didn't want to hear from her again. She kept trying to call, but he would always decline. She had really made her bed, and now she had to lay in it.